Hello, hope you all are doing well today. I'm here to describe a little bit about VLANs and show you some examples here in Packet Tracer. So VLANs play a vital role in a network. They're used to logically segment a network, enhance the security, and reduce broadcast traffic, which in turn speeds things up in the network. They segment the network logically rather than physically, which means that multiple networks can operate on the same physical infrastructure. So on a single switch or router, you can have multiple different networks, saving you the cost of purchasing multiple switches and routers for each network that you need. And this improves scalability, as adding another network only requires you to enter in a few commands, apply some rules, and you're good to go. Another benefit of VLANs is security. You can isolate networks from each other, protecting sensitive data on certain VLANs. So in this example here, we have multiple VLANs connected to each of these switches here. So as I was saying earlier, you don't have to purchase multiple switches and routers to create different networks. So here connected to this switch number 3, we have VLAN 20 and VLAN 30 here as well, both connected to the same switch. And the same goes here with these two different VLANs. So in this example here, we can imagine this as a large office building, such as like a hospital or enterprise office building or whatever. And in the lobby, you would have maybe some Ethernet ports or just a guest Wi-Fi that you would have. So you'd want to create a guest VLAN for that. And you don't want anyone to just be able to connect to the guest network and have full access to all the other networks, all the other different VLANs in the building. So you would apply a rule to that VLAN, preventing anyone on this specific network here from reaching any of the other VLANs, which may contain sensitive data, even the other VLANs that are connected to the same switch. But you would allow it to access the internet through the same network equipment that all the other VLANs are accessing the internet through, and that would be the only thing that it would be able to access. So that's the security portion of that. The other portion would, or the other benefit of the VLAN would be the reduced broadcast traffic. So say you have this network here, which is labeled as warehouse on this example, and then you have another one over here labeled as IT. We can pretend this one is a high priority network right here. So something like voice over IP or video calling, those would require high speed internet and less traffic going through that network so that they can maintain a stable connection. So if you're having broadcasting going on many times in this warehouse VLAN, you wouldn't want that bogging up the traffic for multiple people being on the phone or on a meeting. You wouldn't want that causing any stuttering here. So the broadcast messages that get sent out from here, like DHCP or ARP requests, those only get broadcasted into this same network. So only all of these devices are getting those broadcast messages and not interfering with the speed of the internet in this network over here. Another benefit would be just a general organization of the network devices and host devices throughout the whole building. So as you can see, we have IT, we have warehouse, we have guest, service, accounting, admin. So if you see on a device that it's labeled as guest network or IT network, that gives you a pinpoint of where it might be or what rules to apply to it. It just gives you a general keeping all the devices separated in accordance to how they are being used. So now that we know what VLANs are, we can do a quick little introduction to a simple setup of a VLAN. So for something like this, I'm just going to go ahead and grab a layer 3 switch here, grab another layer 3 switch here, throw on some end devices onto each one. So setting it up is pretty simple. Here we go no enable, go into the configuration terminal, and then it is as simple as typing in the VLAN with the VLAN ID, because every VLAN has an ID. As you saw in the previous one, there's 10, 20, 30, 40, and that is basically just identifying which VLAN it is. So then you can see now we are in the VLAN configuration here, and then you would go ahead and give the VLAN a name. So for this example, I'll do sales as the name, and right away you can see if you go into the show running configuration mode, you will see down here, you will see it in show VLAN, and then you can do brief just to get a quick summarization of the VLANs that you have. So by default, every device will always start with VLAN 1, which is the default VLAN that every port right here you can see is assigned to that VLAN. So by default, every device that's connecting to this switch will automatically go into VLAN if no VLANs are set up. And then you also see these other ones that are default. Those you don't need to worry about. But you see now there's the sales VLAN with the ID 10 that I gave it, and the sales, and there's no active ports because we have not assigned any ports. So to do that, you would go back to the configuration terminal and then go to an interface. So like for example, this one here is connected to Fast Ethernet 2. Wait, wrong one. For example, this one here is connected to Fast Ethernet 1. So you'd go into here, Fast Interface, Fast Ethernet 1, and then you would do switch port access VLAN 10. Now that is going to now assign, you can see it's down, it's thinking, and then it's going to come back up. So now that interface is assigned to VLAN 10. So if we wanted to go and label that, we could now make that blue for VLAN 10, and then we'll go ahead and proactively make this one yellow, and we'll do this as VLAN 20. And now the interface is back up. You can see here that that is turning back green. So now going back to the configuration terminal, you would go and just do VLAN 20 and give it a name such as IT. And then from there you would exit that, go straight into the interface, which would be Fast Ethernet 2. And then same as before, switch port access VLAN 20. So now you can see it's turning orange as it's processing the command there. And then for, let's say, something over here, you can either create a new VLAN or apply the same VLAN over on this side. Like if you had sales in two different rooms that are connected to two different switches, they can still be on the same VLAN and communicate with each other. And then you could have another guest network somewhere that would not be able to communicate with either of them based off of the control rules that you give them. So for this one, we'll just go in here, we'll create a new VLAN 30, name it guest, and then you would go back into the interface, which would be Fast Ethernet 2. And then now apply that. So you would just do switch port access VLAN 30. Now that is now on VLAN 30. And now you have a guest network there. And then for that you would go in and configure some ACLs to make sure that this network is not able to communicate with either of these networks here. And that is a great benefit of VLANs. And as you can see, that's just how simple it is. Instead of having to you could do all of these on the same switch, just coming out of different switches or ports. And it would still apply the same. And that's one of the great benefits of VLANs is it's all logical. It's not a physical requirement that has to be done. So you don't have to purchase all this expensive equipment just to have different networks. It's just simple commands as you see here, just a few commands and you have a whole new network. So that's the greatness of VLANs.